This is Secrets of Astrology YouTube channel and you are watching Bhava Sindhu Series by Astromaster UK Jha. This series consists of lessons on applied astrology to understand how to analyze astrological combination in a horoscope for revealing specific subject or area in life of a nativity.
Friends, after a gap of considerable period, I am again back on your favorite series, that is Bhava Sindhu Series. Let me tell frankly that the purpose of this series is to enable the students to have a clear perception as to how a combination in astrology is actually formulated. These are all the play of significator and significations, and by combination of house, sign and the planets, scholars have tried to formulate a combination. That is an attempt to develop the keenness into the students to know as to how effects from a given combination can be gleaned. The whole exercise is to develop the understanding of the student about pristine principles of astrology and their application. And that's why in the books we find so many combinations related to different types of effects in life. But let me tell you, they are the suggested probabilities. They are not the final results, and they are only to develop the acumen of the student so that they can understand the astrology, and when they face the actual planetary glyph in the horoscope, they can see the effects there, and of their own they can analyze the things to arrive at a particular conclusion so as to make the prediction. That is the purpose. So in this series, I am again here with you, and today I am going to take up a topic which may titillate many of my readers, and that is, I am today going to talk on the topic loss of sexuality. What are the combinations in the horoscope that develops a disinterest into the native for sex and sexuality? So these combinations are merely indicative, as I have told you, but how they have been formulated, my stress is only to expose the students to those side of the things, so that their understanding about the principles of astrology can develop, so that they can understand, they can start understanding the music of astrology. The combination goes like, जन्म चक्र में मदन भवन में सीता सित जब रहे प्रविष्ट, क्रूर विलोचन उदय भवन में काम शक्ति सब करे विनिष्ट. The meaning of this aphorism is that the native will suffer through the loss of sexual power if the 7th house of the horoscope is occupied by Venus and Saturn, while Mars is located in the 1st house. Now in this combination, the Mars is placed in the Lagna and Venus and Saturn are deposited in the 7th house. So these three planets are there, and the involved house is Lagna and 7th house. And as a resultant effect of this combination, the stated effect is that the native will have loss of sexual power. That means either physically or mentally he would become little incapable of performing during the act of coition. So how this has been said, how this combination has been developed. Now I can tell you that energy field of the 7th house, as you know, is considered to be imbued with the forces of sexuality. That's why we study the attributes like love, marriage, sex, sexual performance, etc. from the 7th house. So sex and sexuality is an attribute of the 7th house. Similarly, the planet Venus gives the sexual proclivities. That is also obvious from the significations of the Venus. We all know it. So, Venus is the planet that that develops interest and inclination towards sex. Now, here is Mars, which is posited in the Lagna. Now, I can tell you that Mars is the planet of power and energy. This is the planet that provides all types of power for performing any action, and this includes even the power for sexual performance. So, role of Mars becomes very vital even in case of sexuality. Now this Mars is deposited here in the Lagna. So it is spoiling or afflicting the Lagna. From the mind, sexual things will be removed to a certain extent because of the affliction of the Mars. That is the one possibility. Now we will talk about other possibilities later. Presently we see that here the factors like the 7th house, the planet Venus and the planet Mars, as we have just discussed, are distinctly related to sexuality at very abysmal level of the, you can say, psychosomatic constitution of a person. Because 7th house generates the current for sexuality. Venus is the planet of sex and sexuality, and Mars is the planet which gives energy and power required for requisite performance in the acts of sex and sexuality. So these things, these three factors are clearly involved here. Now what is the fourth factor? That is the Saturn. Saturn is also conjoined with Venus and is in opposition to Mars. And as we all know, that planet Saturn is known as an Enoch planet. It is a planet of slowness. It is a planet of darkness. It is a planet that removes light from anything. Removal of light can be understood as removal of joy. So, effect of Saturn can remove the elements of joy from the things of sexuality. Now this planet Saturn is also involved here. It throws the currents of importance in the entire combination. It is in conjunction with Venus in the 7th house, so it would afflict them simultaneously. That is the 7th house, that is the house of sexuality, and the planet Venus, that is the significator of sex and sexuality, have been here afflicted by the planet Saturn, because it is certainly throwing the vibrations of importance in 7th house and on the planet Venus. From here, it would also aspect Mars located in Lagna. In this case, Lagna also gets afflicted by Mars and Saturn both. Now I can tell you that Lagna is also related to sex and sexuality, because it is the mind first that desires for the sex. Unless and until the mind will not desire, the vibrations related to sexual urge will not come to play in the human body. This is the simple fact that is known to everybody. And as Lagna contains everything appertaining to the 7th house, so affliction of Lagna is not good. Now, why Lagna is containing everything appertaining to 7th house? Because as per the principle of Bhavat Bhavam, it is reckoned 7th from the 7th house. So 7th from the 7th house is Lagna. That is, all the attributes of the 7th house is in Lagna. And Lagna is head, 7th house is sexuality, 7th house again gets resolved into the Lagna. This is the reason that mind so quickly acts and gets response from the body and the organs of body in matters of sex. The moment something scintillating and titillating comes into your mind, you feel aroused. That is a natural thing, and astrologically I have explained this. Now coming to the point, here the three major factors related to sexuality and sexual power of the native. That is the 7th house, the significator of sexuality Venus, and the significator for sexual performance, you may say, as Mars, have been afflicted by the Inuk Saturn. Saturn has suffused everything with its vibration of impotence. So all the factors have been afflicted badly, and adverse effects of Saturn will be visible in the form of loss of sexual power or the loss of interest in sexual matters. Because the influence of Saturn will certainly adversely affect the sexual urge in the native, and it may fall down, or the capacity of the native to perform well during the acts of quiescence will get reduced, and this is further coupled owing to the affliction of Lagna. that mind will also not be very much keenly desirous for sexual things. So, as a combined effect of all these things and due to the strong affliction created by Saturn, that is the vibrations of impotence, has been taken into account in this aphorism for formulation of a combination for the loss of sexuality in the native. And that's why it has been described here that the native would suffer from loss of sexuality and sexual powers. But these things should not be taken verbatim, I am cautioning the students. For the formulation of this type of effect, these factors have been taken into consideration for forming a combination. This can be formed in other way also. So, when you find such a thing in the horoscope, you must take it as only a possibility that may lead or that may result into the native's loss of interest in sexuality or loss of power for sexual performance. But this one possibility has to be checked from other side and other factors also. One must not jump to the conclusion in astrology and never should make prediction in haste. What I am trying to tell here that I am here only exposing the students about the logical side of formulation of the yogas. So once they will take it, understand it, they can apply it in the horoscope also. So that was about the loss of sexuality, friends. Next time we will again meet with some other combination. My efforts to develop the acumen and understanding of the students about the principles of astrology will keep on coming. Thank you.